On Sunday, some angry football fans told CBS to stop helping us. Turns out there's a reason that Jarrett Stidham is a backup at quarterback. Tariq Woolen was the Rams MVP, even though he plays for the Seahawks, and will take on America's most controversial debate: which Girl Scout cookie is the best? Hi, everybody, I'm Jim Watson. I have nothing better to do. This is Obstructed View. This is the show that's heavy on opinion, but light on the research. And joining me once again from his estate in the desert is our cruise director, everybody. Hey, kids, it's Mike Lamb.
Where's that thunderous
Usually not for you.
Where's the
applause for 3 weeks? There it is.
There it is. There it is. Yeah.
Can't keep up with you guys. You want to?
Now they love you. It was a late reaction, Mike. They were waiting for the applause light. And the guy in the third box, he's the guy who's pushing the buttons for us. He puts the fist in sophisticated. Hey, it's Tom Catlin. How are you, Tommy?
Outstanding. Sorry about the cheers.
That's all right.
Give or take 30.
You didn't have it for yourself either. So, all right, we'll try to get back.
I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
All right, we'll start off the show as we always do. The tradition is we start with a disclaimer from my wife. The views expressed by the host on this podcast are mine alone and do not reflect the views or beliefs of my wife and children, who are decent and honorable people who also are forced to suffer my existence. I love the graphic. That's a new ad this week, Tom. Nice work. All right, Michael, let's get right to it. Let's start with the NFC Championship. Rams and the Seahawks. Seattle wins at 31-27. And then we'll talk about the Patriots win in Denver. Give me your overview on Sunday. I know you spent the whole day in a cave.
Well, if you're going to talk about the Seahawks and the Rams, I thought that was clearly the better game because it was two halves of football, not just one. And the aspects of it, the Rams lost that game in a very dubious fashion in the regular season in Seattle, and that led to the
and you're talking about week 16, right? They met in Seattle, same two teams,
right,
a month ago, right, to decide the division. Yeah, go ahead.
Which brought the NFC Championship game to the Seahawks and their home field, which is just an absolute to me. It is an advantage. So that I thought that played a part in it. I don't think the Rams, it's not as easy, although here's the deal. I don't want to make excuses for anybody. I thought the Seahawks were on the rise throughout the season. I love their defense. You can flip a coin whether it's their defense of the Texans that I feel is best in the NFL. And for Sam Darnold, and I don't want to get on a total soapbox about this, but I don't think I ever lost faith in Sam Darnold. If you're going to be the number one quarterback for the New York Jets and then have that effect,
Carolina,
and it will, and then end up back where he's at, I think it speaks to his mental toughness, and I love the fact that now everybody can get off of him. I'll make this point about Sam. And I compare him to another quarterback, Vince Young, in this way. If you take Vince Young away from Mac Brown, what's his Texas record? If you take Sam Darnold away from Clay Helton, what would his record have been? Those guys are just winners. And I was expecting to see this from Sam, and I believe that's what you saw on Sunday.
Every time you bring up Vince Young in Texas, I was at the Rose Bowl on the sideline. All I can see is Frosty Rucker, the defensive end for SC, caving inside and giving up that hole outside to Young, and me screaming, no. Yeah, you remember that. A couple points. Let me catch up with you. The home field advantage in Seattle is really that. Everybody talks about it, our house, all this nonsense. I worked for the Seahawks. I lived in Seattle. I went to many games. It's loud. I've been on the sideline of a lot of NFL stadiums. It's loud. It's the way they built it. It's the fact that those people are angry, depressed, fat, and half drunk by the time the game starts. So they just yell louder. It does bother me that they keep claiming it's the home of the 12th man. I'm sorry, Texas A&M is the home of the 12th man. And really the 12th man, by the way, started in the dome before they tore the dome down because it made so much noise. But I know about the world record for noise and all that. But it does have a home field advantage, and the numbers bear it out. So that's 12 straight home playoff wins for Seattle. That's 12 in a row in the NFL.
Right.
I don't care if you're favored. I don't care if you're 12 in a row. That's outstanding. But here's the real one, Mike. 4-0 at home in NFC finals. So listen, we all play better in a place we're comfortable. I remember when I was living in Newport Beach and I was in the dating scene, Mike, I worked at the Rusty Pelican, but that isn't where I took dates because that was a little too much. But right next door was the Chart House. I'd go to the Chart House, Mike, because they knew me. So I looked like a big deal. It was classy. They had a nice salad bar, get a piece of swordfish. And then if the young lady still needed some closing, well, then I just run her over to Billy's at the beach, throw a Mai Tai in front of her. And after that, you're just tipping the teapot over. It was pretty easy at that point. So playing at home just makes you more comfortable.
Well, I think the key to any successful dating scenario is a salad bar. So that was what you pointed out, right?
Oh, the Chart House had such a great salad bar back in the day. I mean, it was fantastic. All right, so let me address the Sam Darnold thing. You said you never lost faith in Sam Darnold. I never lost faith in Sam Darnold because I never had any. I will tell you, I saw him play in high school at San Clemente, and I said, all right, he's playing against a bunch of white kids in Orange County. He looks good. He's in a system. It's not a big deal. But I saw Leinart play at Mater Dei. I saw Carson Palmer play at Santa Margarita for Jim Hardigan. So I've seen these high school kids before. So I just didn't think he was, and I'm wrong now, but this is what it was back in the day. I just didn't think the game was too fast. I said, when he gets to college, he's going to be revealed. So he goes to SC and he plays pretty well. He has that great Rose Bowl against Penn State. USC wins a bunch of games they shouldn't. That wasn't a great USC team. I think he came in as a true freshman and won 9 games in a row after they had gone like 1-2 or something to start the season. And even then, because I'm hard-headed, it didn't convince me. He beats Penn State in the Rose Bowl, plays a great game, and he gets drafted number 3. And I remember when they announced, Jets number 3, Sam Darnold, I was like, no, it's too high. He's not that good. So then I see him, and he comes out. He's playing for the Jets. Nobody looks good playing for the Jets, but he looks terrible. Throws a pick 6, his first throw in the NFL. But then he came back and threw a touchdown that game too. Anyway, I'm watching him that first year. I said, yeah, I was right. Of course. Then he ends up in Carolina. And I said, you wasted the draft pick, and he's no good in Carolina. You know where it turned for him, Mike, is when he goes to San Francisco.
Right.
And he's the backup for Brock Purdy, and Kyle Shanahan gets him in the quarterback room and starts breaking down film. And Darnold has said this before. He said, that's when things turned for me. And then he was only there a year. Then he goes to the Vikings. It starts to happen there. Seahawks see something. They bring him in. And so I'm going to say it. I was wrong the whole time. Even though I didn't see it, it wasn't there. You saw something, you knew something. I mean, he looked fantastic the other day, and he looks real now. Now he, to me, looks like an elite quarterback in the NFL.
I know we're out of time, but
yeah,
I compare him and I see something in Fernando Mendoza as well. They're sort of football savants. You know how awkward Fernando is when he's talking or on camera. And I thought that about Sam. I remember telling the sports information guy at USC that I think he is a football savant. And that's what I've always held about. And here's the other thing. This touchdown to Smith-Njigba and the other one that he had to Bobo, he got hit both times. I was very impressed by that. To me, that's the true test of a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, standing there and knowing you're going to take the hit and still deliver the ball on time in the right place. Yeah. So, Mike, it's funny. I just started to do a little research, and I was there when Sam was playing high school football, and you see his parents at games, but, I didn't know much about him. But so I look it up. So his dad was an offensive lineman in college. His mom played volleyball and then was a volleyball coach. So he's got good lineage. Where does the toughness come from, Mike? Let me tell you, it comes from his grandfather. His grandfather was the Marlboro Man. And I swear to you, Mike, his name is Dick Hammer. I didn't make that up. It's the greatest name ever. And so tomorrow I'm going down to the courthouse to see if I can change my name to Dick Hammer.
Oh, that makes me want to get that makes me want to get a hard pack of Reds right there.
Right? Roll it up in the sleeve, get on a horse. I mean, how great a name is that? Did Marlboro pick him on the name and then just get him some leathery skin and a broomstick mustache? What a perfect name for the Marlboro man. Dick Hammer. Are you kidding me? So
sometimes the tumblers of the universe just fall together and they fit, and that's it right there.
That's right. Sometimes things just make sense. Dick Hammer is perfect. All right, let's move on to the other game. I know we're way over time, but it was the two big games this week. Patriots and the Broncos, mile high. We heard about the Stormageddon all week, and it was going to be awful. I turned on the game. It looks pretty good in Denver, and they play that first half. And then, of course, it all changes at halftime, and it was a mess in the second half. But talk to me about Stidham. So it's Bo Nix goes out with a fractured bone in his ankle after winning the semi, and so they're in the championship. They got to bring this guy in. So he's pretty good at Auburn, but he's in his 7th year in the NFL, and this is only his 5th start. So first series 3 and out, but then he comes back with a 50-yard pass. And then he follows it up with the touchdown pass. And all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, this is like an Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre thing all of a sudden. But it just didn't last.
Well, it didn't last because of the weather. And the other thing, the little caveat that I would add to that is everybody's talking about how Josh McDaniels took him to the Raiders with him, right? And I always think of Josh McDaniels as the Ryan Leaf of head coaches, the worst in the history of the NFL.
Not a compliment.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is the guy that brought us Tim Tebow to the NFL. And then he brought Jarrett Stidham. And so I wasn't thinking of that as some great endorsement. He's going to be able to compete. Yeah. Sean Payton was convinced of it, and he almost pulled it off. But listen, you don't sit on the bench all year and then all of a sudden get thrown into the championship game and produce. It just doesn't work that way. There's a ramp up, whether you've held out a training camp or coming off an injury or whatever it is. So, good for him. I thought he availed himself well. I don't think, he wasn't the reason that they didn't win. But the story to me is on the Patriots and what's going on there. And I'm sure we'll get into Mike Vrabel and what he has brought, but again, I'm going to go back to making an Indiana comparison. The paradigm shift at Indiana, it's almost like what's going on with the Patriots and what Mike Vrabel's been able to do. And it's been easy for him. He recaptured the culture. He is a former player. He was a hard-nosed guy. So whatever he says and does, there's no phoniness in it. And the other part of him that I know a lot of people are trying to figure out what the secret sauce is with him, I think it's empathy. And that's him having been a player and understanding what goes on in a player's life and mind and whatever. Listen, there's a lot of 340-pound guys with a lot of pressure on them, and they would like to just break down and cry, but they can't do it in front of their wife or their mom or their agent or anybody. They just have to keep that stiff upper lip, if you will. Vrabel understands that, and I really do. I think that's his superpower.
Yeah, I've always loved Vrabel. We'll get him on the back end of this. Let me finish off Stidham. For me, looking into it I thought it was a great story. You thought this is a great opportunity, and we saw what's his name did this in Philly that year, right? The quarterback, I forget his name. Maybe you can help stir my memory here, and led him to the Super Bowl.
Of course.
Yes, yeah. So all of a sudden, and you're like, oh, this guy can play. We have 2 quarterbacks. In this case, for me, Stidham, it reminded me of going to Roger Moore from Sean Connery. So you go from diamonds are forever to live and let die, and God bless Roger Moore, but he's not going to scare anybody.
Right.
I mean, he's got a carnation. I mean, he was just a little too sophisticated and polished, and it just didn't work. You needed Sean Connery. But the numbers you said on Stidham, they weren't great, but they weren't the reason that they lost. But here's the thing, Mike, going into this, I said, well, if he plays really well, he's going to get offers from other teams. So he's going to have trade value. He can sign and trade, do whatever. And if he plays terribly, they're going to trade him anyway. So no matter what he did, even if they advanced, gone to the Super Bowl, he was on his way out of town either way.
Yeah.
If he played well or didn't play well, they were going to get rid of him because now nobody has any confidence in him. Everyone's going to say you got to upgrade the QB2 position. But if he had played well, they would have traded him too. So I thought that he was doomed either way, or at least he was packing his bags.
Yeah.
Now we can talk about Vrabel, because after the game, the Patriots in the locker room going crazy. And Vrabel's a guy I've always loved. I love guys that played that are coaches, and I've talked to you about this before. I love guys who are coaches or coaches now that used to be linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, guys who've been there, guys who've had success and failures. Right. Those big guys in that locker room, when he says something, they believe it because he lived it. He speaks their language. He doesn't BS them. And afterwards in the locker room, you can hear it in his own voice.
I promise you, we're going to let you celebrate. Okay, bring it in here, please. Warrior! Come on and play! Okay, listen to me. Listen to me. Sometimes you got to believe things before you can see them. Okay, you got to believe them before you can see them. And from the time that we started, you did everything that we asked you to do. Okay, we said everybody's journey to this league looks a little different. Just like everybody's journey to the Super Bowl looks a little different. Okay, we can enjoy this, and we will. You've earned the right. Okay, I appreciate everything that you guys have done. This staff, these players, our ownership, every single person has helped us get here. Okay, but you got to celebrate tonight, and then tomorrow it's how are we going to win the next game? You understand me? How is this group going to find a way to win one more game? We're going to pack our up. Okay, we're going to take our belief, we're going to take our identity, and we're going to go on the road. Okay, let's everybody just bring in here real tight.
I'm going to interrupt 1 sec and say we really have come a long way and want to give this game ball to a coach who's amazing and did something that's never been done before with all of you. No other team in the history of the NFL has gone 9-0 on the road.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Mike. When I heard him say that, I didn't even know that they had gone 9-0 on the road. Robert Kraft gets to interrupt a celebration in the locker room because he owns everyone in the room, and so he's earned that. But he got lucky with Vrabel. They didn't hire him right away. It turned out, it all worked out. But I've always loved this guy, and I've been trained to hate the Patriots because of Belichick and Brady for years. So it's hard for me to get behind him. But this is a different team. And now Drake Maye, are you kidding me? 10 for 21, 186, no touchdowns, no interception. His quarterback rating was 62.6, and they win the game. You could say it's weather. Both teams play in the weather, but maybe he's just one of those guys that doesn't make mistakes and maybe makes a big play like running for a first down at a critical time. I don't know. The pieces seem to fit together there.
I think Drake May is better than a game manager, and he's grown this year. I think he's limited his mistakes because I think he's that smart, and I think the physical part of it's starting to come to him, or it's muscle memory as opposed to having to think everything through. Listen, on this game that's coming up, coming off of the AFC Championship, when the Patriots were kind of at their zenith, if you will, and I was doing radio on a national show, and we talked to all these coaches and all these players all the time. And I was so confounded on how the Patriots were doing it. And then somebody finally let me in, or I deduced it on the secret sauce. And Mike Vrabel has carried this forward, and that's part of the culture that he has brought from his past. And it's this. Everybody on the team is a role player. Great, got it. That's not the first team to ever do that. But what the Patriots did and are doing now, that role changes from week to week. And that's what a lot of teams cannot do. And if you want to talk about Drake May, look, he may throw the ball 3 times. He may throw the ball 33 times, depending on what they want to have happen. But I think that's what's going on with Vrabel. He is taken from that. He's going to implement that with the players. And it's just kind of funny. I just remember talking to a guy who had played for Belichick at the Giants, and his belief in him was so strong. And I don't recall a player having a belief like that before. And so I really have an inkling that's what's going on with the Patriots. So don't count them out. I know everyone thinks that the Seattle's going to walk through it. I'm not so convinced of that.
Yeah, I don't count them out either. And, remember, they've done this before. Tom Brady was not a star in college. I mean, we knew who he was, but Drew Henson was the starter at Michigan. He was 1A and 1B. And then Brady comes in, and nobody even knew what Brady was until Bledsoe against I think it was the Jets on Monday Night Football, tries to get the first down instead of stepping out of bounds and gets taken out of his shoes, and he's out of the game. They got to bring this kid in, and all of a sudden he catches fire. So maybe it was going to happen anyway, but I always wonder what would happen on that play if Bledsoe steps out of bounds. You never know. Two things to close this out, Mike. Vrabel, in his first year with the Patriots, Mike McDonald, his second year with the Seahawks. We just saw Cignetti win it at Indiana in his second year. So now the GMs and all the athletic directors and all the presidents and ADs, everything, we got to win in the first 2 years. No more 5-year clock, right?
Well, I think they're more on the fans' clock now, right? It's like, what have you done for me, not just lately, but immediately of late, right? What's going on? Listen, college football, the specter of that is really hanging everywhere. In the NFL, I think that the jury's still a little bit out on it. Let's see what happens here. But I think you and I have been around the game long enough to understand it's organizational, all right? And if you're the right guy that gets into the right organization, that's going to turn it around. I don't know, if Robert Saleh goes to the Titans and he wins, well, then you have to look back at what's going on in New York, right? Which everybody will. But I'm just a strong believer in that. It's like the Cleveland Browns job is open. Why has it been open so long, right? So
nobody wants it, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the night shift at Denny's. Nobody wants it. To your point, wow, it's not a coincidence that teams like the Chiefs and the Eagles always win, and teams like the Jets and the Browns are sucking gas. It's organizational. It's the way it's run. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, there was a guy, Mike, I don't know if you saw this. There was a guy on BetMGM that put $500,000 on Denver. Wait for it. Plus 3.5. So he wins by a half a point the hook. He wins by the hook, and he ends up with nearly $1 million. It's like $968,000 after the juice. But if you would have told that guy, if you would have talked to him after they scored the first touchdown, they're up 7.
Oh yeah,
double it. He would have said sure. But if I would have said, hey, whisper in his ear, those are the last points they're going to score today. Do you want out? I'll buy your ticket off. So that I'm a degenerate gambler, so I love that stuff. That's why I love watching Van Pelt with his bad beats, because we've all been through it. Anyway, that's great.
I hate the hook, Jim. It's just like three's a reasonable number. 3.5. The hook, dude. No way. I'll buy it. I'll buy it down.
You shave the hook. Get rid of it.
Shave the hook.
Shave the hook. There was you're talking about this Patriots game in Denver with the snow, and CBS is doing the game, and so they decide to bring in, once the field gets blanketed with snow and you can't see hash marks, you can't see yard lines, you can't see the first down mark, you can't see any of this. They decide to help out. Now, listen, I'm all for innovation. So I gave it a look. I didn't think it was so bad, but man, football fans just beat the crap out of it as CBS for trying to help them. I get it. It's new technology, and it was going over their pants and their jerseys. Calm down, Karen. They're trying to help you. And everybody got upset, and people are tweeting in, and I got a couple for you. You're ruining the game. This is a disaster. You sucked the enjoyment out of my Sunday. Really? And then here's the big quote. CBS, turn off these computer-enhanced lines and numbers immediately. They completely ruin the snow game viewing experience. A third viewer posted, "Get these AI snow lines off my effing TV. Hey, CBS Sports, please take the artificial white lines off the broadcast. You are ruining the joys of watching a snow game." Another part I agree with. Absolutely.
But
Now, look, I love watching a snow game like anybody else. I still watch the snow game. Why are people so angry? What do you think?
do you know who are making those comments? Because I do. They were vegans, and just eat a cheeseburger and you'll be fine. Okay?
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna
Worried about it too much. Well, you and I have been around the game a long time. You remember when they brought in the score box, which Fox started. It was called the Fox box up in the corner, and people lost their minds, and they said, "We don't want that. You're covering up the game." Can you imagine watching football now without a clock and a scoreboard and a down and distance up in the court? People would lose their mind if you took it away now. So to me, it's one of these things you just got to get used to it. I watched
Guys, we're getting calls in the control room from vegans.
Put them through to me. I got something for them.
Mike, hey, tell them. Will you give their number to Dick Hammer? Yeah, But Mike, remember when Fox did the vapor trail off the hockey puck, and all the purists lost their minds about that? I liked it better. I could see the puck. Hockey, and Tom's talked about this before, what a great game it is in person. And on TV, it's a little harder to see the puck.
Yeah.
I didn't mind the vapor. It was fine. I know, we used to say in LA when I worked for the Kings and the Ducks, and we used to say, wow, there are 20,000 hockey fans in LA, and they're all at the game. Because our ratings were they looked like Clipper ratings. People hardly even knew that the game was on. Everybody who was a hockey fan in LA was at the game. Now maybe it's different in Toronto, but I don't mind. You got to try stuff. So
do you and Tom remember when the wild card was going to ruin Major League Baseball? Do we remember that?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
the 3-point line,
people don't want change.
3-point line in the NBA.
Oh no!
Right.
Yeah.
Designated hitter in baseball, right?
If I want to watch the ABA, I'll watch the ABA. Yeah, right. I know. It's bar talk. It's just bar talk. Okay.
People cannot ever see out of the box anything unique. This is why I've been dealing with a third nipple for so long. People they can't just accept things, anything new, something that's out of the ordinary.
The man with the golden gun.
But we've seen this stuff before and people go crazy. But listen, so a couple of weeks ago, I watched the Miami A&M playoff game.
Yeah. And
I turned it on, and like most people, I like some announcers. I don't like other announcers. But I just decided I was going to watch the Skycast. And if you don't know this, it's the camera that's over the field on the wires. Yeah. And it stays on that camera the whole game.
Right.
There are very few replays, and there are no announcers. But you can hear the crowd. You can hear the PA announcer, so down and distance. Plus, if you follow football, it's pretty intuitive. I loved it. So I started watching games now with the Skycast. The problem is, now that I go back, when I hear an announcer, especially if he's suffocating the game, it's driving me crazy. I'll never listen to Gus Johnson again. I know people think Gus Johnson's the greatest. It's just not my thing. He just suffocates the game. It's almost like Gus is thinking, oh, you turned in to hear me. And by the way, behind me, there's a game going on. I don't turn a game on or off for any announcers. I used to love Howard Cosell. I liked when Dennis Miller was on Monday Night Football. I don't really need the announcers. They add to it for me. So they got to bring me something different, but I don't let it bother me. No fan's ever turned off a game that he really wants to see because he can't stand Chris Collinsworth. Nobody's ever, turned a game on because, I got to hear Tony Romo. I don't care about the game, but I got to hear Romo. I just think I think it's way overrated. And I'll never understand why Fox can give Tom Brady $2 million a game and think it's going to change the viewership at all, because the same people are watching the games.
Well, because he's a brand and they're buying the brand. That's all that's going on there.
That's right.
Listen,
That's right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, that's that to me, and you nailed it. That's the executive saying, "Look who I got. I have his number. We go to dinner together. I know Tom Brady." So because again, Fox's ratings didn't change at all when Tom Brady came in. And I will tell you this: I told everybody Brady won't be good his first year because nobody's good their first year.
No, you think John Madden was good his first year? Do you think Madden
was pretty good his first year?
Awful.
Yeah,
he was awful.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you got to learn not football. You got to learn TV. Right?
Right.
You got to learn how the mechanics, when to get in, when to get out, your timing, how to illustrate a play quickly. You don't have to talk after every play. You don't need a replay after every play. So I told everybody, Brady, you won't know what Brady is till his second year. He's in his second year. He's much better.
Right.
But he's good. He's not great. I thought Greg Olsen was better as he was for me. I don't hate Tom Brady. He's fine. But he did miss a really big element. It's easy to pick out the things. He called a good game. He did the Rams Seahawks game, but when the Rams when they scored late in the third quarter, after the unsportsmanlike, and they scored right away, they're down by 5, right. And they just kicked the extra point. Now I think teams go for 2 way too early and way too often, put themselves in a big
every
hole.
Every time. I couldn't agree with you more.
But Mike, it needed a conversation. You need to bring it up.
Yeah.
Right. You at least have to say they could go for 2 here. Might be too early. At least bring it up. And he missed it. And you don't know what's going on. Maybe the guys in the truck are talking to him. Maybe I think he's calling the game with Kevin Burkhardt or one of those guys. So that was the play, right? They scored the touchdown. And then I'm watching. I'm like, well, maybe they'll go for 2. It's still third quarter. Nakua makes the great catch. And so you got time. The play's going crazy. I look over at McVay, and nobody's really doing anything. So, all right, I guess they're going to go for 1, but Brady didn't bring it up. And then it's compounded late in the game when the Rams are down. Remember, it's 4th and 4 from the 6-yard line with a couple minutes to go in the game. 4th and 4. If they had gone for 2 and gotten it, they're not down by 4. They're down by 3. And they could have kicked a field goal to send the game into overtime. Now they have to go for it on 4th and 4. So had he set it up earlier, it would have dovetailed nicely at the end. Again, not cherry picking the one thing, but it was a big element. And then it came back. There was foreshadowing to the end of the game.
And Tom, that clip you just showed, and I don't really want to kick a guy when he's down, but I think he deserves it. Tariq Woolen. Listen, that was one of the most – this is him getting beat after he had the penalty, right? And it's one of the most immature, selfish things. And it's just unbelievable. When you start talking about a culture, it only takes one guy to kind of blow that out. So I guess, Jim, you don't agree. But so the point being, he's the luckiest guy ever to have a team win a game. Because had they lost that game, that would have been on his shoulders, and they've got to get to it. I thought, listen, we'll put it this way, and I know I'm going back to the 1990s, but if you had played for Jimmy Johnson and done that, you'd be gone, right? It's just that way. And
hey, you saw his teammates, Mike.
What?
Right, his teammates were policing him on the sideline because not only does he. The referee told him he was John, and then the referee says, okay, that's enough. That's enough. You did it. And he kept going. He worked down the sideline right in McVay's face. And that's, McVay's looking at the referee like, you going to call this? And then he did. And I'm watching the game like, he did not just do that. It was 3rd and 12. So the unsportsmanlike gives him the first down. And then he gets burned on the corner for the touchdown. I mean, at that point, the GM's on the phone and he's on his way out of town.
No.
But
let me tell you.
You're right. They won the game.
On that defense, he's the liability. He really is. And especially in the run game, because his effort is subpar in the run game and he takes terrible angles consistently. And then he did that. So he's got to get an F. But I want to make a point here real quick, because you like to talk about dating in the 1900s. I'm going to talk about football in the 1900s. So when I was doing the post game for the Raiders back in the day, and George Atkinson was my partner, and we would talk offline. And I talked about how loosey goosey the Raiders were of the 70s and all that, and a thing, and how Madden never came down on them, or Tom Flores. And George Atkinson said this: we were self-policing. And I saw that on the Seattle sideline. You just brought it up. So I don't think it's a new thing. And I thought Mike McDonald was able to kind of soft pedal it a little bit, right? Because he was incensed at that, but he was able to keep his cool because the team is self-policing.
Yeah, and they're going to handle it in-house. He knew what he did. He apologized afterwards, but you don't think Vrabel and those guys right now, I mean, they're already scheming, right? So they're already looking at him, talking about all the weaknesses. But now you can get in that dude's head. If he does that in a Super Bowl or makes a big, you just know he's an emotional guy. Yeah. So I'm going after him, right? I loved that the Rams, after McVay saw it and said, that guy feels like crap right now. I'm going to kick him while he's down. And they attacked him. You knew they'd go after him. And Nakua beat him on the corner. It was a great throw by Stafford. So yeah, that was pretty impressive. I love that they went after him. I would have. That was great. Stafford, Mike, we didn't talk much about him, but that guy, I know he's won a Super Bowl already, but man, that guy just kind of feels to me like the Clayton Kershaw of football, that he's great, could be a Hall of Famer, and just whatever, the big moments, it just doesn't quite come through. Again, I get it. You won a Super Bowl, but I don't know. Is he considered elite in this league? Would you put him top 5?
Well, if he had not won that Super Bowl, you would have been able to flip the narrative from Sam Darnold to Matt Stafford, right?
Very good. One? Yeah.
So,
right.
No, but he has won it. I don't know that I have seen a quarterback play that well and not win a championship. It just reminded me back to some of the great performances. I think of Joe Montana in my head. I don't know why that's popping in, because that's really old, but that was kind of Montana-esque. I mean, he was just on there. I counted probably 3 passes that weren't right on target. So yeah, I don't know what to make of it, Jim. I mean, we could psychoanalyze that for a while.
I'm looking at his numbers: 22 of 35, 374, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 81.5 rating. Mike, I told you that when you and I used to call games together, I swear this is true, that every time I worked a game with you, I'd learn something. Small thing, big thing, interesting thing. I'd always learn something because you saw the game differently as a lineman. I've said linemen see the game better than anyone. Yeah. And so I always try to give you something when we do a show, a podcast, something together, a game. So how about this one? Do you know where Matt Stafford went to high school?
I do not.
He went to Highland High School in Dallas, Texas. And he played quarterback, of course. Okay. Do you know who the center was that Matthew Stafford took the snap from for 3 years in high school?
Raiola. No, that was in Detroit. Okay, no, I do not.
Clayton Kershaw.
Come on.
Look it up. Hey, as Signetti said, Google it. Yeah, Clayton Kershaw. And then they put baseball.
My wife in the background, kind of like, well, everybody knows that. Sorry. I didn't do enough research.
Yeah. Hey, tell her to shut that mud up in the background. I'm doing television here.
Oh, my God.
So, and then when they play baseball, Kershaw, of course, pitching, and Stafford was the catcher. Highland High School was a big deal in Dallas. So they were pretty good athletes. But yeah, there's a bar bet for you. Who was Matthew Stafford's center in high school? Clayton Kershaw. Imagine that. Amazing.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to drink from that well that's on that campus, right? What?
Yeah, no kidding, right? And they graduated the same year. I think 2006 or some pretty good high school, right? All right, last thing before we get out of here, I promised that we would do a favorite Girl Scout cookie. When I ran out for a second, it's because I had to. Okay. I had to go out. So I was coming out of a market the other day, and that these Girl Scouts now, they're like snipers. I mean, all of a sudden they're just there in the bushes, and you got a red dot on your forehead. You got to buy before you get out to your car.
Sure.
So this girl this girl cornered me. Actually, this one was at a grocery store locally, and I ended up buying about 10, 12 boxes.
Good for you.
So I'm trying to figure out what you like the best. So I'll just run through a couple of my favorites. I love the Samoas, Mike. The Samoas with the
it's
stripe
best,
on them.
right there. That's the best.
Then of course, you know, when I'm not in a chocolate mood, then I'm going the Do-si-dos. That's the peanut butter one. You know, when the kids go to bed early and I'm watching Landman, I'm going here. I'm going with the tag-alongs, right? And then of course, no box is complete without a couple of Thin Mints. Put them in the freezer. All right,
Sure.
Here's the new one, Mike. They went off the chart this time. Explore Moors. Do you know these? This is the new one. You know, they try to come out with a new one every year. Do you know this one? So this is
A s'more, right?
Rocky Road ice cream inspired cookies filled with flavors of chocolate, marshmallow, and toasted almond cream. I'm out. There it is. Look at that thing. How many boxes you need, Mike? I got about 8 of them here.
Tell you what, not the right day for me to try to break my sugar addiction, is it?
But listen, Mike, it's not that I love cookies. I do it like I do everything. I do it for the kids, Mike.
Clearly.
Do it for the kids.
Look, no. I mean, kind-hearted Jim Watson bought all those cookies.
Dick Hammer did it for the kids too.
Oh my God.
Tom, you haven't been in much today, Tommy. You got a favorite cookie? What's your favorite one?
The Samoas, which of course I made a graphic of.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
But then there's the Toffee-tastic, which I haven't tried. Anybody tried those?
No.
And then there's
How about these? You know, this one. This is the Adventurefuls. I've had the Toffee Tastic.
Just can't get enough of Dick Hammer.
Yeah.
What does he have to do with Girl Scout cookies? That's
Listen.
to be seen at trial.
I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but much like Dick Hammer's product, if you read the ingredient list or if you read the ingredient list on those cookies, you're gonna. I don't know. I didn't study food nutrition, but it's a little scary. But you know what? I will always buy, and I'll throw a 20 at the Girl Scouts because I'm like you, but you have girls in the house. Those aren't going to last a week.
They don't know that I have them. I'm not telling my kids.
Okay. Good for you.
Keep these out in the garage next to the weed eater.
Yeah, keep secrets from them. That's the only way to do it. You gotta.
Yeah. All right. Final comment, Mike. You got anything? We'll ask you your prediction on the Super Bowl next week, but you can wrap it up here with anything you want. Give you 10 seconds. Tommy, you're right after him.
You've never looked more natural than behind a box of Girl Scout cookies, sipping on whatever that is. A Yoo-hoo. I think it's a chocolate Yoo-hoo, right? And yeah.
It's Soda Stream. It's just pure water.
Oh,
pure water.
Okay.
Mike, my niece made this cup for me, and each one of these surfboards is a name of a beach that I've lived on.
Really?
Newport Beach, Balboa Island, Hawaii Kai when I went to the University of Hawaii, La Jolla in San Diego, Santa Monica where I met my wife, Marina Del Rey where I had fun before I met my wife, and Alki Beach when in West Seattle. Anybody knew that Seattle had a beach? I did. Yep.
I remember drinking an ice cold, not a Hams, probably a Pabst on Venice Beach with you, and we were on bikes. So I didn't see the Venice Beach on there. Yeah.
Well, I didn't live in Venice. I lived in Santa Monica. That's where I lived.
Okay.
But you're right. Yeah. And that was called the Whaler. That bar that you and I drank in. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, or it could have been the burger place under the pier. Good. Big Dean's. Best cheeseburger in LA.
My favorite was in Hermosa. It was called the Poop Deck. And you can be sure that was a classy establishment.
A lot of class, all low.
All right, Tommy, your chance. Last
I think,
time
one
to
of
get
my
anything in.
One of my tasks is to keep track of viewers we've lost, because the viewership is growing immensely, but we lost vegans this week. I think some of the comments around Girl Scout cookies may have lost a couple of females, but we're doing well.
You know what? The vegans are a bunch of little bitches anyway. We don't want any vegans. You know, here's something. When you make these people angry, all they do is call their friends so they can write in. And if anybody wants to write in, good luck, because you won't find me. I'm not on anything. I don't exist. I'm a, hey, as Sam Darnold said on Monday Night Football, I see ghosts. Remember that one?
Yeah. Listen, yeah. You can find me in any carnivore chat room, vegans. And that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. You like meat on your meat?
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. That'll do it. I know it's the internet, so we're not out of time, but we are out of topics, and I'm sure anybody who stumbles across this is out of patience. For Tom Catlin and Mike Lamb, I'm Dick Hammer. That's our obstructed view. Coming up next on the main stage, the comedy stylings of Yakov Smirnoff. What a country!
They're vegans. They're vegans, Jim.